Hey, what's up guys? Daniel here, and beside me I have
Farbod.
and today we're gonna discuss about all the things that Apple discussed in its keynote event. So come along for the ride. If you don't know, Apple has a keynote earlier at 3 a.m. Australian Standard Time. If you're in other worlds, then I don't know what time it is.
Yeah, probably EST would work.
Yeah, yes, it will work. And they discuss a lot of stuff like the App Store and how Mario comes to the App Store for the first time, and also Pokemon Go, with surprise coming to the Apple Watch. But I think one of the most interesting thing, like the biggest deal of all, is the iPhone 7 launch. We see all these rumors like, oh, the iPhone 7 has 2 cameras or even has one. Well, now that they finished the keynote, let's start discussing about what are some of the pros and cons of the iPhone 7. And so, we'll start with the iPhone 7 and
So you
Seven
have
Plus.
been the Samsung, or what are you using currently?
right now I'm using my Huawei Nexus actually.
Okay, Nexus. Yeah, yeah, you've been on the Nexus for a while.
Yeah,
I've been the iPhone user for the past couple of years. So now I'm using iPhone 6. So comparing 6 to 7, we're gonna see if it is worth it. If you're on a 6, if it's worth buying 7. So we go through some of the features that iPhone 7 provides.
yeah, and what the iPhone
And-
6 does. Well, first of all, let's talk about the new colors, because Apple has updated its colors, right? So now we've got silver, gold, rose gold, black, and the new jet black.
You mean the color of the?
Yeah, the color of the iPhone. And if you don't know, jet black is sort of this glossy thing that it's really easy to get a fingerprint on. So I would be surprised if they manage to put like a glossy surface without actually having the fingerprints all over your back, because it'll be disgusting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
All right, and also one other thing that they really managed to push this award is, of course, the camera. Now we all know that the rumors have showed up that, oh yeah, iPhone 7 has gone with dual cameras for the iPhone 7 Plus. It is, but for the normal, it's not. So to give you a head start, because you didn't watch the keynote, didn't you?
No.
All right. So to give you guys a head start, the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus both have a 12 megapixel camera with a brand new f1.8 aperture, and also
That's 1.8. That's
yeah,
good.
1.8 aperture, right? That's really
That's something.
big. And also they have 6 new element lens to make your image sharper, and as well as I think they have a brand new sensor that it's quicker and I think it's brighter. Yeah, and they also have a quad tone LED flash. You know, in the iPhone 5s they introduced the true tone flash, which is, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best. And they have now come up with the quad tone flash, which I don't know what the heck it means, but I think it's going to be pretty interesting to can't wait to see the image when it comes in low light, because that LED
Yeah,
flash
low
is
lights.
gonna be really key.
Yeah, I think we are moving more toward the low light situation, and in terms of photographing, I think low lights, if the aperture is really low, like 1.8, I think that's really good, to shoot in low light and create that good depth of field.
For example, right now I'm using my current Nexus 6P, and right now I have a 12 megapixel sensor from Sony, but they have like an f2.0 aperture, and guess what? It has no optical image stabilization, which for me as a film student, recording in 4K is a nightmare. Every time that I record, I get this little shake. It'll actually be recorded in the camera. Well, you can do some post editing, like using warp stabilizer in
warp
Premiere Pro, but most of us are not film students, and that's gonna kill.
Yeah, especially
The
people on
quality.
iPhone and things on phone, they don't necessarily get on the Premiere Pro, so that's the thing with them.
Yeah.
So if it's video, that would make much more sense.
Oh, but how's your camera on the iPhone 7? Has it been really good or not? Or
Uh,
what?
the iPhone 6.
Yeah, your iPhone 6 right now.
Yeah, the aperture is pretty good. It's not 1.8, but it's a good depth of field and the quality is good compared. I used to use 5C, and the camera
Oh yeah.
quality wasn't really good, and I didn't really like it much. But iPhone 6 was a lot slimmer, and so I believe the 6S is quite similar to 6. But I'm quite excited to see what 6S has to offer in terms of other feature than camera. Of course, I heard the camera is good, but what do you think the other features the new iPhone has to offer that 6S doesn't?
Um, I would have to say if we're talking in the camera department, if we're talking in the iPhone 7 Plus line, you'll see that there's not one but two cameras. Now this is something
Yeah,
that
two cameras.
we don't. We already seen once with the Huawei P9 camera, which
So
was
do you think that's a good news for especially photographers, like when they're on the iPhone? The camera provides opportunity for them.
well to understand. We need to know how these two camera works, right? So on your left you've got a regular camera, like I think it was about Apple talk about 26 millimeter camera, and then on the right is a 56 millimeter telephoto lens. So it's probably equal to
Yeah, lenses.
your Canon 51.8 basically.
Yeah.
So this is good for photographers like you, I know, because I know that you love bokeh, shallow depth of field, right? And obviously you're not gonna get that in a regular lens, but if you switch to telephoto lens, man, that depth of field is really, really good.
Yeah, and it's really good for getting the long distance shots.
Yeah, I
Capturing,
know.
Yeah.
And since you got
And you don't lose quality as well.
yeah, and the real cool thing about the camera is that in your iPhone you got your zoom, right? But it's basically like a digital zoom. Well, now you
Yeah,
can do
which
like
is-
2 times optical zoom, so you can actually like zoom in the camera without even losing the quality of a 26 millimeter. So I think that's pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
And now let's talk about the display. I mean, oh, if Apple is quoting that this is the best display ever in a smartphone, then I would have to see it to believe it. I mean, the resolution is not that much.
What is the resolution of the display?
Well, for the iPhone 7 Plus, it's full HD, 1920 by 1080, which is a little bit um, not comparable to my Nexus 6P. My Nexus 6P is a Quad HD 2560 by 1440p AMOLED screen, which has gorgeous black levels. I mean, literally, the black. Once you expose it to black color, the pixel turns off immediately. So you got this deep black expression. And
And what do you think about the sizes? Is it going to be similar to what we saw in 6S and 6?
Well-
Or is it going to be smaller or more flat?
well, it should be similar, but it could be a little bit thinner because
So it's not like the bend, it doesn't bend or any issue regarding that. You're not.
no, they fixed that.
Okay.
Okay, but back to the display. The 4.7 inch one, it's a what is it? 1334 by 750 pixel resolution, which I think is a very odd resolution because most of it will got like 720p or 1080p around that size. I mean, I remember the HTC One have a 1080p display on it. Excuse me, on a 4.7 inch screen, which I think is really good. But the cool thing about it is that their screen is now it's not sRGB anymore. It's not Adobe RGB that we're used to. They are using what's called a DCI-P3. Sam, you know what that means, right?
DCI, what is?
DCI-P3. So that means DCI-P3 is cinema standard color quality.
Oh yeah.
So when you see the yellow, it really is yellow. It's kind of like OLED, but it's different. So there's that.
So I heard with the new iPhone 7, it's also waterproof and resistant to let's say sand or so.
Ah, yeah, it
things
is.
like that.
It
What
is. So the iPhone 7 it's also IP67 rated, so they're dust proof and they're also waterproof.
Yeah. So I used my iPhone 6 and I had to get an external light proof in order to protect it from, water, things like that. So that is something separate. But when you see it in iPhone 7, you don't need to buy that anymore because
Yeah.
it already comes with that feature.
Yeah, true. And compare this to my Nexus 6P, which doesn't have anything, which kind of bummer because I really wish it have. Um, I really want to take it underwater, but I can't because, first of all,
Or GoPro,
yeah.
Go
But
underwater.
in my opinion, there's no case that supports the Nexus 6P, at least not in my knowledge. So if you guys know, please let me know in the comments so that I could really look at it. And second of all, yeah, it's not that really good it's not really that great this
So
one.
maybe you need
But
to
it's really good.
upgrade to iPhone 7.
Yeah, if I have the money,
Engineers.
you want to give me the money? All right. So I think the last thing we're gonna talk
Well,
about.
what about the price? Do you think there's much difference in iPhone 7?
No, it's gonna be the same.
So then it should be affordable.
But if you remember the iPhone 6, 6 and 6S, they both started at a 16 gig model, and people complain that 16 gigs is not enough for their 4K videos and whatnot, and so they upgraded it to more of a. They doubled the storage to 32 gigabytes, which I think is gonna give people some breathing room to people who wants to likes to shoot 4K and do other stuff. And do you know that both iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Pro doesn't have a headphone port?
iPhone 7 doesn't have it.
Yeah, the headphone jack.
Yeah, that's something
That's something that's interesting, because
different.
if you think about it, like my Western W30 has a headphone jack, and his AirPods also has a headphone jack, and our audio slash camera guy also has a headphone jack on his Bose IE2s, and so this will be interesting as to why did Apple remove the headphone jack. Well, I'll probably guess it's
It's
to
questionable,
insert more battery.
Could be. And that's why it doesn't last long in battery.
Yeah, but again, in terms of battery life, I think we're getting, or on average, Apple quoted, 2 hours longer battery life than the iPhone 6s, and up to 1 hour longer battery life than iPhone 6s Plus. So I think that's a pretty good sign that Apple has bumped up the battery and listened to the customers' complaints, right? Oh yeah, and I also forgot that the iPhone 7, because the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus doesn't have a headphone jack. Apple released this brand new earphones called AirPods. It's basically they created a new chip. It's called the no, I think it's called the W1 or the W2 or the S1 or the S2.
So yeah, it made it somehow people buy something else.
Yeah, and you know how much it costs? It's just 150 US bucks.
Wow.
Convert that to Australian dollar. That's like what, 300.
So that's one of the big could be a disadvantage, but at the same time the feature that it offers could be something new that people haven't seen or
Yeah,
used before.
Yeah, basically Apple, in their keynote, Apple basically said, yeah, this is courage. We want to take something that we have never done before and we want to be the first to do it. Well, obviously they're
It's
not the
innovative
first.
to some extent.
Yeah. And you got your usual stuff. All this iPhone is running on iOS 10, which unfortunately I don't have the beta because I'm running on Nexus. He doesn't have it because he's still running on iOS 9, and our audio doesn't even have an iPhone. He only has Android. But from the looks of it, when I watched the WWDC, I think the iOS 10 is going to be a pretty good feature, especially on messages. They're trying to compete like Snapchat and all that kind of other stuff. I think it's gonna be really, really interesting. I want to take a really quick talk about the second product the Apple launched, which is the Apple Watch 2. No, the Apple Watch Series 2 to be exact. Basically, their first they're talking about the how their first Apple watch product is war not waterproof, splash proof. Well, this one is swim proof. It's up to 50 meters.
Yeah, that's
And-
interesting.
Yeah, I know, right? And also they have a second generation system in package processor. That is a dual core processor, which is 50% faster than
So
the
you can
first one.
pretty much swim, take
Yeah, pretty much.
you can swim yourself.
But don't swim in salt water because of obvious reason. Obvious reason. You don't want to break your watch.
yeah,
and
so
your underwear.
surfers, there's a tip for you. Just don't take your iPhone 7.
No, you know what? No, I think the iPhones. No, I'm talking about the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch is swim proof, and I saw the keynote that one of the images a surfer is wearing it as well. So I think that could be like a statement. I'm not sure. And they can
Yeah, do
deli-
it at your own risk. So
yeah, do it at your own risk. We're not recommending it. And also their GPU is two times faster, and they can deliver up to 60 frames per second, which is godsend. And also the second generation display is what Apple's quoting the brightest display that Apple has ever shipped them, which we have, I don't know, it's like 1,000 nits or something. Okay, and they have a new built-in GPS for accurate tracking, and they have a new material which is ceramic, which I don't know how they do it. It is supposed to be 4 times harder than stainless steel. And of course they have all of this is running on Watch OS 3, which I have no idea what is it about it, but I'm really excited to get it. Oh yeah, also I want to talk about back to the the iPhone 7 a little bit. I haven't talked about the performance out of it. So it's rocking a new Apple A10 Fusion, which is a quad core. So you got 2 high performance cores and then 2 lower power cores. So and they can intelligently switch according to your needs. So if you want to play games, then you can use the dual core dual core high frequency cores to maximize every single game out of it. And then if you're just checking your email, it could switch to 2 lower cores in saving battery. And also I want to talk about their GPU. I think it's a 6 core. I think, I'm not sure.
So
which
do you think
has-
for comparing this to people who are on iPhone 6, iPhone 7 is a recommendation, or people who are Android, they want to switch to iPhone, they should go to iPhone 7. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for me, as much as I really
Based on what we
love
discussed,
iPhone, I
yeah.
think I'm gonna switch to my Nexus. I'm gonna give my Nexus a few more chance here because I think I haven't unleashed its full potential yet. I'm running on a stock Android, by the way, which is absolutely genius. But how about you? If you have the money, like 1,000 Australian dollars,
I mean,
would
I think
you
the money is not the main issue when it comes to the phone, but it also depends on what you want to do with it.
yeah,
So the camera, for instance, there's 2 cameras, like
Yeah.
you say. If I really need or have to, I would switch to that. Or depending on the features that it offers, I think it's one of the way to go with it.
yeah. So it's just really a matter of choice. So I'm also saying this for the software. Which one would you prefer, iOS or
Yeah,
or
let
Android?
us know your thoughts below, so
Yeah.
we know as well.
Don't start the flame war, guys. I really don't want to see flame wars in the comments. Which one is better, iOS or Android? I just don't want to see that happen. We're here just to respect all community, whether you're on Windows Phone, Android, or even iOS, or even Linux for some reason. We're here to respect. And I think that's about it.
Yeah.
The Apple keynote. I think so far it's good. I'll give it 8 out of 10.
Yeah, Tom, that's good. That's a good rate.
Yeah, it's really useless to ask you because you didn't watch the keynote.
So yeah, I would give it an 8.5.
Yeah,
because
there
I'm
you
an Apple
go.
user, so I'm gonna watch that after this show. Definitely.
Really? All right. I'll keep watching you. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah, we put the link in the description if you haven't watched it.
Yeah. All right.
And yeah, follow us on social medias, me and him.
Yeah. And please follow this guy's channel because I've been told to. This is shameless promotion, guys. Shameless YouTube promotion.
Yeah.
What's your username?
We just put the link in the description.
Oh,
So they find out. And here, Daniel, he's gonna be uploading video from now on. You'll see him more often, vlogging and talking about.
I'm gonna vlog, but for this kind of stuff, I'm gonna bring my friend. For example, if the next Android is coming out, I'm gonna talk with Patrick because he's an Android user as well. Well, yeah. So that's
Let's
it,
wrap
guys.
it up. Yep.
Yeah. So thank you guys for
Peace.
watching this video, and we'll see you all in the next video or sometime soon.
There's no next
All right.
video.
Bye. All right. Done. All right.
Man, your closing.